Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Windmill from CZT Hiroko Matsuo. And I hope I pronounced that right. Okay, this is a grid pattern. And oh my gosh, is it amazing. All right, I am going to, let's see. I'm going to do a very tight border here, just so I have a finishing edge versus just going completely off the edge. Sometimes I like to do that. And some days I just like to go off the edge. So, anyway, all right. And I'm going to do more than a 4 square. Because the result of it being more is just remarkable. On the step out, which is in the description section, that I started off with the 4 square, so it's easy to see. So if you take a look at that, so here's a 4 square, and then. So if you ever want to easily divide, I like doing it this way, and then working to be like right in subdividing. Well, close. And then subdividing again. Like I said, close. Close counts. Close counts in Zentangle. It does indeedy. Oh my gosh, this is going to be small. Well, I should have known that because it's about the same size as the the little boxes in my step out. But that's okay. I do believe that you should be able to see exactly what I'm doing. All right, now I'm going to work to keep my fingers up above the pen tip. Okay, first step after you have your grid set. And this is one of those things where I probably should have done it in thirds, but that's okay. This will turn out really amazing. What do I say? Draw it bigger than you think. Okay, let this here be a lesson to you. Okay. I'm sorry, I cracked myself up. All right, so we're going to divide each of the boxes, but we're going to do it kind of like a checkerboard. And now, up to you, if you want to draw, this is so silly, I get these mixed up. Horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. If you want to, or you can do like I'm doing. I'm just doing all of the horizontals. And this is a neat tangle kind of to do this where you're doing the same stroke over and over again. You just have to be a little cautious, as I just like all of a sudden my heart went in my stomach thinking I was doing it in the wrong box. It's like, nope, didn't. It's okay. So going slow. Like I said, then we're doing, the other way in the other boxes. Now, what I like about this tangle is, especially this, so you're doing the same stroke over and over again, just turning your tile, and you don't really have to think. A little bit, maybe. Just, but it'd be one that you could zone in on the process at each step. All right. So once you have this, and by the way, that looks kind of cool. That's kind of like there's the Tangle Kiko, and I know I have a video on that, but we don't do it up in a grid form first. But anyway, I actually think there's some other tangles that start this way as well. All right, after you have the straight lines out of the way, it's just curved lines and knowing where you have to go. And we're essentially doing 2 different curved lines, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so always looking in. Okay, whatever, we're going to start at the what would that be, the leftmost box. Okay, so with it horizontal, sorry, and the bottom. Okay, so looking at this box, horizontal line, bottom half. Okay, so always remembering it's the bottom half that we're working on. So from the right side of this box and that line, we're going to do a curved line all the way to the corner. Now this one I would do both curved lines because we're going to do curved lines in this little rectangle in this bottom half of this box. I would just go ahead and do both. Okay, so one all the way to the corner, and then one kind of to the middle, or if you're down here, you're not going to have a line to line it up with, but here where you have that vertical line, just line it right up as if it's going in. And then we're going to continue down the path. So again, we're the bottom half, curve line all the way to the corner, curve line to the middle-ish, or that line. Okay, then I'm going to skip down here. Same thing, so from the edge to the corner, and then edge, and then, yeah, to the middle. And then, going slow just to make sure. And one thing that I found, and after you do it once, you'll see where you might need to, or where you might want to make some adjustments, or just being aware of, well, how am I doing this curve anyway? Okay, and then here, because this is at the end, I'm just aiming for the middle, so that way it's similar, because these, if we're good, these were in the middle, so then these will, all be fine. Okay, now we're going to flip this. We're going to do 180 degrees, so we're going to flip it just upside down. So we're going to work in the same box, and as I mentioned, bottom box, so from this edge, curve line to the corner, and then curve line to the middle. And we're just going to keep going, and then, while a line like this, try to hit the corner is always a good idea. But if you don't, that's okay. And then just continuing, it's the same strokes in the same same box, we're just turning it. And what's neat about that is, and if you haven't like read any of the books or taken some classes, there are some certain philosophies within Zentangle, and this is one of them, where you focus in on the strokes and you don't know what's going to happen afterwards. So like for a minute, erase that you saw what it's going to look like in the end. But you that's why you can be surprised. So we're doing the same strokes over and over again. Now we're going to turn just 90 degrees, and we're going to start the same process over again in the boxes that are empty. So again, bottom half, curve line all the way to the end, or to the corner, curve line, to that middle. So in lining up with there, and then just continuing. The other thing neat, and then just making, it's just, this is just the concentration part of making sure we're working in the right place. So that's where going slow helps. This would also be a great one that I could see, myself losing myself in this if I was doing it on maybe a bigger scale, where I was doing a lot more of it than just this. And just losing yourself in it. And that's where the beauty of the repetition in Zentangle, and then also not having any expectations. You're just like step 1, step 2, rinse and repeat, whatever. Okay, now we're going to do that last box, and then this is where the patterns will start to pop. And what I find that happens with that is then sometimes like my eyes get confused, not confused, but it's just like, oh, there it is. Okay, where am I at again? And it almost just takes a little bit of extra concentration as things just kind of start to pop. And so I just think that this is a magical tangle and exemplifies some of those philosophies that are part of Zentangle, the actual method of Zentangle. Because a lot of times people don't understand that there is an actual methodology and philosophies and stuff behind it. It's just like, oh, it's just really cool patterns, which it is. So I encourage you, if you don't have, if you've never read, if you're interested and have never read, Rick and Maria have 2 books. I have them on my store, on my website, tangleaddicts.com. They have the book of Zentangle, and then there's a Zentangle primer, volume 1, which I hope someday they will do a volume 2. But either one of those talks of those philosophies. Probably the book of Zentangle, which is their first book, would be maybe a first good step. The primer has some exercises and stuff and has some of the basic tangles. Both of them are really good. Highly recommend. But it's just, like I said, I think it's good to think about those philosophies. All right, so isn't that amazing? And so even before I do shading, my brain went, ooh, this, we've done our own coloring book. So if you wanted to add color to this, of course you could. If you want to add textures in any section, and a texture could be straight lines, well, it could be even just depending, curved lines, orbs, there's just those little things that we add that just add that texture behind that. That's all up to your imagination. Or even just coloring solid and leaving it at that. But let me show you a couple shading ideas. This is what I did on the step out, and I thought it looked really cool. So what I'm going to do is put some graphite in the center of, so you see we've created, sort of orbs here. That's what we call them, orbs, because they're not quite circles. And this is where I was starting to mention, as you do, at least after your first one, then you might say, okay, when I'm doing this, maybe I'll work to have it be a little, like they have this arch a little bit more, because mine is a little bit straight. It's a curved line, but so that's why I kind of have, it's like they're angular circles. But you know what, in the end, it doesn't matter. It just, sometimes, we'll think about those things. It's like, well, I'd really like to have this shape be a little something else. Now this, so I have this is 1/4 right here, making sure to get these little halves also. But I just, as soon as I was doing this, I just fell in love with this tangle, mostly because of the whole concept of just having the steps be exactly the same. Just turn the tile. I love it. All right, now just going out a little bit into the center. Don't want to do too much because it's kind of neat to, you want to leave a little bit of that natural tile color. This tortillon is a little, kind of mashed it in a little bit, and I don't know where my handy dandy what do you call it? Pokey something. Something to poke it out with. My paper clip. I have used toothpicks also, but I have neither handy, so it'll be fine. But just, just going out a little bit, just to have a gradient instead of it being, just some gray there. And so I'm not, doing necessarily big circles. But so if you did this on a bigger scale, but of course, let's see, let's get this little corner here. But even just, following the line like this, it still smooths out the graphite, even if you're just kind of going back and forth, and pushes it, because, this is, it'll push it to this thickness, however thick the tip of your tortillon is, or whatever you're using to smudge. You could use, I haven't tried a Q-tip myself, I'm just picturing that, or cotton swab, I should say. I'm picturing that a cotton swab could work well. I know some people, will make their own. There's videos out there on that, and it's like basically a triangular piece of paper, and then you just roll it up. So that's neat. And then I thought, oh, why not let's just make these a little tufted, and I'm just putting a little daub of graphite, just a little circle of it, or a half circle, depending, in the centers there. And these ones you just have to be a little careful, because I don't want to go out, I personally don't want to go outside of that line. But yeah, I'm picturing lots of neat opportunities for this. Now in the description section, I have a link to my step out, as well as the Tangle Patterns link for more inspiration. And on there, it must be Hiroko had done their own artwork, and it looks like, you see, and mine's too small to do that, because you could, further aura this and divide it, because they had little orbs in there, and just, just had some other ideas. I can't remember if there was more than one piece of artwork in there or not, but I just think that that is just absolutely gorgeous and just so cool and impressive. And that's one of the fun things about Zentangle is where when you know the steps, you know, you too can impress your friends, right? But you know, it's impressive. But once you know this, when you look at the finished product, but once you know the steps, and you're like, oh, but it's so easy. And people don't believe you until you show them. And then they're like, oh, okay, that's really cool. So have fun with this. I know I'm going to have some more fun with it. I just think it is absolutely fantastic. So also in the description section are ways if you want to connect with me. I already mentioned my website, but I do live classes online, of course, a combination of free and paid, and they're mostly free. I have about once a month that I do a paid one, so it's a little bit more in depth in things. But all that information is on my website, and we also have a nice Facebook group going, so we'd love to have you join us there. And if you enjoyed the video, would love to have you click the thumbs up. That would be lovely. And if you're not subscribed and want to see more, feel free to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to let them know exactly how you want to be notified, if you want to be notified at all. I like that feature because I personally don't necessarily want my phone blowing up or my email blowing up when there's new content from the people I follow. I just like to go to YouTube when I want to and, you know, and go from there. So with that, thanks for watching. And I wish you happy tangling. Have fun with this.